Hey friends, I just wanted to make a quick video today. I have been asked, uh, by lots of people for this, and quite frankly, it's a good idea because my team is working towards becoming a national area. And so I have a lot of women asking me about DIQ and is DIQ for me and what is DIQ and what's the plan and how do I do it and all the things. So I thought I would just have a little conversation about that. I don't really have a ton of notes, but I do have some things that I want to say that are going to help you and they're going to be keys to your success in doing this DIQ thing, doing it strong, and coming out on the other side a strong director. And so step one would be really learning about directorship and if it's for you. Okay. And so if you're in my unit, I do a lot of directorship info sessions where you can actually learn about, what are the income differences? What's the requirements? How does it work? And we do like a fun little Zoom. You can even invite your husband on and we talk about it. And then, you can kind of talk with your important person, whether it's a spouse, a mom, whoever, and decide if that's the route you want to go. Now, if you're on this video, you have already made that decision. Like, yep, this is what I want to do. And I get so many people who are like, what's the plan? So I'm going to first start by just telling you my DIQ story because I think it's important, okay? Because there's an important point here that I want to make. So I debuted as a director I started in October of 2004. I debuted as a director in April 1st of 2006. So it was like a year and a half it took me to be a director, but I didn't want to be a director for my whole first year, okay? So I joined in October, and in January 1st of that year, the company did a promotion where if you had 3 active team members and a certain production, you could go on target for your car. It was like going on target for your car was like on sale at this point. And so I went on target for my car. And I'm not even kidding you. I was on target and I would be on target for like 2 months and then I would go off target and then I would be on target and then I would go off target and then I would be on target and I would go off target and I would be on target and I would go off target. And if you're like, is she going to say it again? That's how many times I was literally on target for my car from January 1st through the end of August and I never earned the car. It is the literal definition of insanity. And I'm telling you this because what happened was at the end of August, my director thought I was going to quit, but I had no intentions of quitting. Okay. I don't quit things. So I decided that I needed to have a moment, a self-actualizing moment of not just like, okay, I'm going on and off target for my car. I asked the really important question that everyone should ask themselves. Why? Right? And so here's what I want to tell you. Okay, 2 + 2 = 4. Okay, this segment is called Math with Emily. We do a lot of math with Emily, it seems like, in my videos. But for some of you, for a portion of your business, whether it's because you've got charisma or you're cute or you've got a big juicy family, for some of you, 2 + 2 has equaled 5 or even 6 for a really long time. And what's happening is you want 2 + 2 to equal 9, and it's not happening. And you're really frustrated by that. So when I was on and off target for my car for all of those months, 2 + 2 was equaling 6, meaning I wasn't really doing the activity I needed to do. Even me. But I would get lucky and I would have like one team member who would do a big inventory or whatever, and it would keep me on target. So that, my friends, is 2 + 2 = 5. And so I had this self-actualizing moment that like that's what was happening. And I regrouped for 2 months and I decided, I made this decision, okay? And I want you to make a decision about when you're going in and when you're coming out. And you are going to go in and you're going to come out because of DIQ. I made the decision after being on and off target for my car for all of those months that I was going to do it. And if I was going to do it, I was only doing it once or I wasn't going to be able to do it at all. I literally told myself I would not be able to do it if I didn't do it. Like there was not submit and then unsubmit and then submit. And you do know that you can only do that so many times anyway, and then the company limits you. So let's just not do that. You make a decision when you're going in and you make a decision when you're coming out of DIQ, and then you celebrate it, right? So pick something that brings you joy. I remember back when I was doing DIQ. I promised myself, you're going to laugh at this because this is so old school, that when I finished directorship, I could get TiVo. Okay, now for those of you who are like, what's TiVo? It's that, like, you could record, you could DVR. It's a DVR. It was like the OG DVR, right? It was TiVo. And so I got my TiVo and I lived happily ever after. It was amazing. But I want you to take a hard look at yourself and go, self, has 2 + 2 been equaling 5? Because you can actually have math like that when you got some charisma or cute, but there comes to be a point when you want bigger things in your business and that's not going to cut it anymore. And so we're going to talk more about, like, okay, what do you need to do? The other thing I want to mention is when you don't go in, make a decision on going in and then go out, and you're in and out, this thing happens. Okay, your team gets fatigued by it. And so then as you continue to do that, you have to build a new team almost who isn't fatigued by you not getting the goal done. Okay, so it's important for the health of your actual team to go in and to get it done. The other thing I want to mention is the other reason you want 2 + 2 to equal 4. Like, you're doing the activity you need to do to get this goal done is because I see this a lot in DIQ, and I am completely guilty of it myself back in the day. I want you to write this down because it's important. Desperation causes hesitation. Desperation causes hesitation. And so when you get to your final moments of DIQ, or you get to your final moments of trying to get in, we get desperate and we start like begging people, or we start like incentivizing the heck out of them. It actually creates hesitation in the people that we are trying to affect change in. Okay, so if you just can grab onto the concept of, I alone am responsible for this. It is my goal. And yes, the team is a part of it, right? And you're going to talk about we, like, we are doing this, not I'm doing this. We're doing this together, but it's you, right? Like, you're the leader. And Gloria Mayfield Banks used to say, we're talking we, we're talking we, we're talking we, but it's all you, right? I just remember her saying that once in a speech. And so you are steering the ship, right? Um, so yeah, so looking at your date book and going, okay, do I have what it takes right now on my date book to go DIQ? And here's what's cool, you guys. You don't have to be a Mary Kay forever to go DIQ. DIQ is the process of becoming a director, right? And you're going to learn a lot of the things in DIQ. But because you aren't an expert at what you do yet, or whatever, you haven't put in the hours, you might need a little bit more numbers than even your sales director, or, the person around you. Or, we like to look around, and you might be surrounded by 2 + 2 = 6 people, but they don't want bigger things for their business. You've got to just be so honed in on what you need to do. So I don't like to give, this is the exact activity you need to do, but I'm going to suggest it because I was thinking about this today. I'm like, I've done quota sharing so many times. I've been, I don't know, like number 7 in team building a few different times. I've recruited a ton of people. Like, recruiting is my thing, or team building is my thing. I'm good at it. I'm going to tell you right now that in today's business environment, I would not, if Mary Kay woke up tomorrow and canceled out my whole team and I had to do DIQ in the next 3 months, with the skill level I'm at, I would not be able to do DIQ strong with less than 10 to 15 full circle parties, personally, on top of, okay, I know, hear me out on this, 10 to 15 full circle parties on top of the kickoff parties and different things that I'm doing for my unit, okay? And you guys, like, don't you want to do it big? Don't you want to be making money when you get out and earn the $6,000 bonuses? I got 3 $1,000 bonuses. You can earn 6 when you're a new director. So I think this is the foundation. Plus, when you have a strong personal team, you get paid twice as much on your personal team as you do on your unit members, people. So it behooves you to have a strong personal team. Like, my paychecks are often a lot more than someone twice my unit size because I have 91 personal team members. Okay, so just kind of chew on that for a little minute. That can really help you. So if you're someone watching this who wants to like not only do DIQ, but you want to come out on the other side making like a decent income, yeah, it's a good thing to do. Plus, imagine if you held 10 to 15 parties. I still do that as a top director. The income, you guys, you're gonna have money going into your checking account, money coming out of your checking account, money going into your checking account. It's gonna feel good. You're gonna feel good at what you're doing. You're gonna feel skilled at what you're doing. You're gonna feel like, okay, I'm confident in doing this for other people. Okay, so 10 to 15 parties. This is my recommendation, 10 to 15 full circle parties. 5 team building encounters of the team building kind is what I like to call it. So per week, 5. So it's either your personals or your team members where you're doing an actual full-blown like sharing appointment where you're like on Zoom, you're in person having coffee with them 5 a week. Okay. And I have ideas on how to do that. So 5 of those a week. The other thing you might need to shift on, okay, now listen, please, if you are not in my unit, listen to your director, okay? She knows things. And if you think, I hear people sometimes say like, well, my director's not where I want to be, but guess what, you guys, if someone is a director, in order to do what they do, you have to do what they did. So your director knows how to guide you into DIQ and out of DIQ. Believe it or not, she knows, okay? Because in order to do what she does, you have to do what she did. So ask for her tips too, but I want to say, in today's business environment, I have found that if you want to recruit or team build, I always work full circle at my appointments, okay? Now, there was a time when we said book, sell, then book them again, then recruit them. Nothing wrong with that. The problem is that in today's business environment, we only get one chance with them, like where we book them, we sell to them, but then they may say they're going to book again, but they don't, or, this or that happens, whatever. And then we don't get in front of them again. And then they ghost us and, who knows? So I've really taught my unit and myself to shift and to say, I now pretend like every encounter I have with someone is the only encounter I will get with them. It is the only time I will have a moment to affect change in their life. It is the only time that I will have to share this opportunity with them. And I really think our opportunity is the best offer that we have. I really do. So I'm going to share it at all my appointments, right? So that might be a mind shift for you. Maybe you're someone who tries to book, you book the party, you sell to them, and then try to set stuff up afterwards. Girl, no. It's like you got to do it on the spot. I never leave the appointment without a team building appointment with those people. So if that's an area to shift, that could be one of those little tweaks that could take you from, if you haven't been hitting it, look at that tweak. Are you acting like every encounter with someone might be your only encounter, and then you're just a lucky duck, not a lucky duck, but you're a strategic lucky duck if you get to be in front of them more than that, right? That has really shifted a lot of people's thought processes. So you're going to want to do that. And everything that you do, right, you're going to sell a ton in DIQ. I'm just going to tell you, you need to sell a lot, because if you can sell enough to be doing core to sales production yourself, meaning you're selling, you're profiting, you need to profit, selling, profiting, and you're ordering between 1,500 and 2,000 wholesale a month because you're selling it, that's half your production. Suddenly, you're no longer at the last week of the month being like, oh my gosh, I need to do 4,000 in production. Like, and then the desperation causes hesitation, and you're, digging in with your team and trying to get them to order and all this stuff. You're just like, no, I'm responsible for 1,500 to 2,000 of this because I'm outselling it, right? And taking a full profit on that. You can do that. It's really fun. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. And if you're doing 10 to 15 parties, it's easy to do that. It's easy. So again, everything's easy. It sounds like doing 10 to 15 parties would be hard. It's not. It's easy compared to doing, if you want to do DIQ really hard, do like 6 to 8 parties a month. Like, it's going to feel hard. You're not going to get through it. Or if you do, it's going to feel like you're dragging people. Maybe some of you have been there and you're laughing right now because you're like, girl, I totally know what you're talking about. So we want 2 + 2 to equal 4. And if you're doing 10 to 15 in that range, full circle parties, and I just want to add one more piece to that. Not that they all have to be new faces, but you can't keep facialing the same 10 to 15 people every month and expect a different result. You have to have those new faces. So maybe it's like lead generating, freshening up your leads, that kind of thing. The other thing is you want to create and start positioning yourself as you're going through DIQ. Your director, every director has different, like I like to really support my DIQ the first month, and then the second month I'm listening to them do like team building stuff and new consultant chats, and then by the third month they're on their own. Like they're doing it. I'm here for emotional support, of course, and other support and questions and all the things, but they're doing that stuff. Check with your director because every director does it a little bit different, and that's okay. We all have our own way of doing it. Because bottom line, when you're in our unit, it's still tied to our business. So make sure you check with, whoever your director is on that. But yeah, definitely getting good at the skills, and also you want to start building that, just like that camaraderie. What's your unit? What's your team name? I love this part. I don't even like calling it branding because that sounds too fancy. But just like, what's your team name, and make it something important to you, right? Let me give you an example. So one of my directors, her unit name is the Extravagant Dreams unit, and it's because her mom that passed away, her and her mom had this favorite nail polish from Revlon. She actually gave it to me. I'm wearing it on my toes right now, funny enough. And it's called Extravagant Dreams. So that's meaningful to her, right? I've got the pink bumblebees, like the bumblebee is really important to another one of my directors. We've got grit and grace, like there's just lots of different things, just like the boss, building on small successes. That's always been something important to me. And you start like building that, just like magic around that, right? And even if things are not going well, when you're in DIQ, right, you have a week where it's not coming together, you're not acting like it. You're the hype machine. You're like, oh my gosh, we're doing this. We're having a great month. We can do this. Keep going. Versus, oh my gosh, we're not going to make it. Like, whatever. Again, desperation causes hesitation. If there's anything that I can teach you, it is that one thing. And you want your future team to be excited to come alongside you and work. And so here's the other great thing about doing this 10 to 15 parties thing is if you're really working, and I'm gonna err on the side of 15, friends. Like if you really want to do this, right? 15 parties, you get the ability to know that, like, okay, when you have the parties up like that, you have hope, right? So you never get in that mindset of like, oh my gosh, it's not going to come together. Because if you don't have parties, you don't have hope. That's another fun one I always say. If you don't have parties, you don't, because like you can't pull things from nothing. You might have a couple friends and family that would join your team, but like as a rule of thumb, but when you have up what you need, your team is like, wow, it's like you're leading by example. They're excited because they're watching you and they're just trying to keep up with you versus you dragging them because you're not doing what you need to do. And then it feels hard. They're just going to be like, whoa, I better like walk faster. I'm not going to keep up with her. Right. And so that's how, you build that team. And when I went into DIQ, and I told you my story earlier, and I decided I was doing it and I was only doing it once or I wasn't doing it. Like I literally was not going to allow myself, like if I didn't do it, there was no second chance for me. I cut off all options. I did not expect anyone on my team to do anything for me during that time period. I was going to do the parties and bring in the new team members. I never put it on my team. Okay. So I know that's kind of a scary thought. Your team will be icing on the cake, but you are capable of doing this. And that's what's fun is, excuse me, you're going to learn new skills. And I do think that things like finishing is a skill, like finishing a goal, finishing DIQ is a skill. And the more and more you let yourself off the hook, the more that slowly eats away at you and eats away at that skill. So if you're not quite to DIQ yet, you're working up to it, decide when you're going in, okay? Because I hear a lot of people do this. When I get to 8, I'll submit DIQ. or when I get to 10, or whatever the requirement is when you're watching this. When I get to 10, I'll submit DIQ. It's logical, makes complete sense. The problem is you might get to 10 in 10 years. So you need to just decide, I'm going to submit DIQ June 1st, and right now it's April, or I'm going to submit May 1st, and it's April. What do you need to do in April to get where you need to go for May 1st? And then things start clicking. Even if you've never done more than like 6 parties before, start booking, right? Getting ready for that, and building excitement with your team and thinking about your name and like, all the excuse me, I have the hiccups, all the things at once so that you're ready to go on May 1st or whatever your date is. And then decide on the second part is how many months you're going to be in. And the more months you're in DIQ, the harder it is because people go inactive and things happen and whatever. So again, if you go in strong and you're committed to doing the parties, you're like, I'm a 2 + 2 = 4 girl. It's always equaled 4. I'm gonna do what I need to do instead of just relying on something. And here's a good radar for you when you're in DIQ or leading up to it, if you're doing what you need to do. Okay. This is going to sound really, really interesting, but just go with me on this. If it doesn't feel different, it's not going to be different. Okay. So if it's just a good like physical manifestation in your body of, am I doing the activity I need to do? And this, you could really do this at any level in your business. I even do this where I'm at now. If it doesn't feel different right now, it's not going to be different. And you'll know when you're doing the right things because you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel like, ooh, I need new systems. There's papers everywhere, doing all these parties. I don't know. Then we start panicking. That's good. That means you're approaching, you're in the right thing because it doesn't feel the same. Therefore, it won't be the same. And so instead of freaking out and backing down, that's what most people typically do, you just go, okay, Emily said I was going to be here. I just need to get a new system for all the papers and all the parties. Like what, maybe I need to have more section 2 on hand so I'm not constantly filling my bags or whatever the system is. It's just, you just need a system. Do not panic. Do not backtrack. You just need a system. But know that that's the magic. Okay. If it feels different or feels weird or feels maybe even a little uncomfortable, means you're in the right direction versus, oh, this is like, it's like a Tuesday for me. Should not feel that way. Okay. You want it to feel different because it means it will be different. So that is how you're going to like physically know if you're doing it. The other suggestion is live your life during DIQ, but maybe don't take like a vacation every month during DIQ. Like, depending on what kind of person you are, you have to stay focused. Like, you should not let a week go by where you aren't having encounters of the team building kind, or you're in front of faces, or you're helping your team with kickoff party. Like, you can't have weeks going by where that's not happening. But you also want to have balance too, because what you do during DIQ, you're going to need to continue to really grow your unit to 50 and beyond to get to the income level where you want to be at, right? So it does have to be sustainable, but it does have to be focused. And one of the things that I've learned as an entrepreneur is that if I take a week-long vacation, I don't do a week's less work. I just have one less week to fit in what I need to do to get the results that I want. So kind of make a plan and go, okay, this is when I'm going to hold appointments. It's sacred time. And you might have to say no to some things, like, if you have a neighbor who's like, hey, can you come over for the fun wine girls night? And it's a night you're supposed to be doing stuff, sometimes you just got to stay focused for that time. And honestly, you guys, it's so worth it. Like, it's so worth it to be on the other side of that goal. I'll never forget, my most vivid Mary Kay memory is the moment I finished DIQ. Like the last team member's order went in. I didn't think I was going to finish because I needed 9 active my last week. And I went into career conference because it was the end of March. And I went in thinking, well, I guess I'm not doing it. Came out of career conference like, I can find 9 people. And I started like doing parties and like interviewing, and like it was a crazy week. But I remember standing in my office in this apartment I lived in at the time I even remember the corner of like the inventory closet I was standing in. I did this really dorky dance. I will not recreate that for you, but just know it was pretty bad. But I was just, I had the emotion and just like the feeling of that accomplishment. I want you to have that too. So I hope these tips bless you and have a great day.